Hey, hello, good to see you here. What a wonderful intro. I'm quite impressed about that sound and everything. And this is a new format coming to you from Supplytechs, which is a wonderful network for startups within the procurement field. I'm Stephan de Bourdeille. I'm one of the mentors of Supplytechs, and we would like to show you in the next hour about 8 wonderful startups within the field of procurement. So they're coming from all over the world, and they are having the business also here in Germany and the DACH region. So wherever you are, and this is a good thing about this format, you can be participant of that, even from your home office, from your office, from your workspace, wherever you are. Just stay with us and be happy with us to have these wonderful companies here. First of all, I would like to say hello to Mr. Pause, which is a wonderful friend of mine. He is the former one of the CPOs of Adidas and now also a mentor from here. And he would like to introduce this in a session, what about startups and why it is so important to work with startups. So Klaus, please, why is it so important to work with a startup?
Stephan, thank you very much for introducing me, but I have to correct one thing. I was not CPO. So CPO is not existing in procurement at Adidas. So I was a deputy head of, but nevertheless, I had a lot of responsibility. So yeah, why it's important. So when Supplytechs asked me if I want to give a keynote for that pitch, I thought, how can I tell you all the most important things about working with startups in 5 minutes? So I thought it's impossible. But finally, I had, I think, the right idea. I will just tell you a short story. When I took over responsibility for IT purchasing at a large company several years ago, my CIO, he was a wise old man, older than I'm today. So why he was a wise man, apart from a few compliance problems we had with him? Listen, one day we found that he had signed a contract with an IT company that we didn't know well in procurement. And when we noticed that he had done the order without a tender, without a second signature, and without us, the procurement department, against the policy, we were very angry and asked him about it. He told us that he would solve our BI problems, and we had a lot of BI problems, exactly with this company. The company would even have little experience in this area and no ready solution yet. But he, respectively IT, would teach them how to do it. You will see in 1 or 2 years, Klaus, we will have the best BI solution which is on the market. So we didn't understand him. How can you give an order for many thousands of euros to a company that doesn't even know what you need? And that supposedly has no idea about the topic for which they are hired. So normally we, procurement, would have asked an established company, probably with 3 letters, with a robust BI solution to implement our requirements within their standards. Finally, it took 2.5 years. After those years, we had a solution, and that's interesting, that is still in use today, after so many years, because it's working, fitting to the company's needs, and updated and upgraded regularly. It took me a long time to understand my CIO. I had heard the word startup sometimes, but I had really no good idea about that. But what this wise guy, had done was just that. He was looking for a young company, hungry, curious, and flexible, that wanted to develop something together. Because he had his own solution in mind, he could not implement it with the big IT companies of this world. There was mostly standard software available, and we would have had to change our processes as a result of that. And everybody who has to change the processes, established processes, know what I mean. Today I know why he was a wise guy. He recognized the potential of young companies and how you can use this potential for your own success, but also for common success. That's the whole story. Stay curious, stay open, flexible, and hungry. Also look at unfinished solutions and develop your own ideas with the help of professional software developers. So it definitely makes sense to take a closer look at the following presentations, even if they don't look perfect at a first glance. And for that, have fun.
Thank you, Klaus. Thank you very much for that intro and this personal words for that. And I'm quite sure we have a lot of wise women and wise men, wise guys and girls around here, and they are curious to know something about how they could start with a startup and how they could make the next step into this benefit for their company. We have an order in this session here for 1 hour, and the order is easy. It is alphabetically. So we start with an A, and the first A goes to Apadua. Apadua is one of the startups founded in 2016, based in Cologne. And we have with us Markus Sins. He is one of the founder and explaining us something about supplier sourcing, tendering, and performance around that. And as far as I know, there is another word in that which means collaboration. So is collaboration one of the key lessons from the key words of being successful within supplier? How is that in your solution solved?
Hi, Stephan. Can you hear me well? Yes, very good. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the words. Also, Klaus, I perfectly hear you. Actually, you did part of my pitch already. Yes, collaboration is a big part. Collaboration between procurement, between business functionalities, but also between the suppliers and their clients. And this is part of our solution. Let me quickly give you an overview. And coming back to what Klaus just said, yes, there is a huge gap between what companies actually need and what they usually buy in the market. Sometimes it's not necessary to buy the largest or the best known company or to contract the best known provider, but to get the best out of the market. And this is more or less what we do at Apadua. We call this smart professional services procurement. And I would like to start with a quick number. Did you know that 3 to 10% of the annual revenue is usually spent by companies to professional services? It's quite a lot. If you relate that to your company and to your company's revenue, you would probably come up with a huge spend. And this is a category that really matters. And what's within that category? It's consulting, it's auditing, tax and legal, or just like Klaus said it at this point, IT, for example, IT consulting, but also IT implementation, engineering, marketing services, and the like. So the category itself is quite widespread and very badly organized in the market. So what happens is that, and we can say that with confidence, because there are studies out there that companies, up to 40% of the companies are not happy with the result and the performance of their service providers. So they basically spend good money on poor services. The question is, why is that? So clients are oftentimes unable to specify their demand, which means they don't really know what they need, or if they know it, and if procurement, for example, is not so much involved, it's hard for them to structure their demands in a way the market understands it. Then, as a subsequent step, they are unable to, or they struggle to identify the suitable providers for that. And this is a great example that Klaus just gave us. suitable doesn't always mean it needs to be the largest, as said before. And third of all, they don't monitor and evaluate the performance and also the quality of their providers. So what most of the companies do for the direct materials, so let's say buying screws, buying raw materials, every single delivery will be measured by time, quantity, and sometimes even by let's say the specification. This is usually not done. Think about your company and think about how they, for example, measure the quality of consulting projects. Some of those companies, some of your companies might do that with an Excel. Rarely, not in a sophisticated way, not in a structured way. So we think the root cause of this is the clients don't involve procurement, because procurement is on the one side the subject matter expert for the market, but also for the method of sourcing and working together with service providers. So there's a huge gap between both sides. So we at Apadua say procurement should be in control of the sourcing for professional services, and especially the categories that I named before. So our goal is to empower procurement and to be the preferred partner within the company for the internal clients. So let's quickly look into the solution. If you look into the process at your company, we abbreviate that with ESM, Explore, Source, Monitor. So from the left to the right, this is more or less a regular sourcing process. If you check that, you probably find most of the steps in any process that you do at your company. If we ask our clients if and how they are involved, and we usually speak to procurement organizations, they would say either they're not involved or at least too late. So if we look into the solutions, it's Explore, Source, and Monitor. And linking to what Klaus said earlier, all this was developed together with our clients based on their demands. So we really have a startup approach here, having a quick first solution, then starting with the client, getting their feedback, and then improving the functionality. So real quick, Explore. Here, our clients get access to our database of professional service firms. Currently, there are over 2,500 vendors in that database, usually in the DACH market. And so you can create lists. For example, you can create a preferred supplier list, etc., and manage your suppliers here. Then in Source, as the name says, it's a sourcing process. So you can conduct the entire sourcing process from project or demand specification, matching with suppliers throughout the collaboration process until you have a final decision. And then last of all, we have added this month a new functionality to Source. So now you can also tender out rate cards. Before we were only able to tender out projects. Now you can also tender out rate cards because our focus is not freelancers, our focus is companies. And the last part, which I mentioned earlier, the monitoring. So now with our tool, and this is really literally the first tool where you can do that, you can monitor the performance and quality of your project and then feed that back into a supplier management process, which is something you would put on your agenda as procurement. So in a nutshell, the three applications: Explore, Source, and Monitor. Stephan, I hope I stayed within the timing.
Perfectly done. Perfectly done. Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you for this overview. We have a 5-minute rule here, so each of you have 5 minutes, which is a little bit more than the 3-minute elevator pitch, but I understand Explore, Source, and Monitor is the core feature of your thing. And another thing which you said is, which is a really big advantage of working together with startups, you can develop together with startups the next steps. So startups are not so, let's say, in an old-fashioned way, not interested in the business. So they would like to learn from the customer side what is maybe the next thing they can develop. And that is also something which I understand from your 5 minutes. Thank you very much for that. We have another A in our row, which is Archlit. Archlit is the next startup, just showing what they can, what the major purpose is, and they are founded in Zurich, which is Switzerland, in 2019, and they are also in the business of tendering, a little bit more to the negotiation side, also collaboration. But what I specifically here like is you generate data by design. So data is that still the fuel in our times? That is this still the important thing to have? What is it you bring out of the data in your system?
Perfect. Thank you, Stephan. Taking the question up front, I think it's making the data accessible, right? And I'm also going to go into this in my pitch today. But first of all, hi everyone, thanks for joining this. I'm Tim. I'm one of the co-founders of Archlit, and as Stephan have said, we're a Zurich-based startup. And today I will tell you a little bit more about how you can start to make more holistic and more data-driven sourcing decisions to really boost your efficiency, but to also in the end create more savings by having additional transparency. So for that, in the modern procurement company, or in the modern company, actually, the procurement department has a lot of different responsibilities, while the tasks of ensuring the availability of goods and services within the organization, but also driving bottom line savings, are still among the core tasks of procurement teams. Activities such as diversifying supplier risks, increasing sustainability, and also improving supplier diversity are becoming increasingly important today. And with all these concerns and the many different stakeholders to consider within the business when it comes to strategic sourcing, running RFQs, the awarding decision is often very challenging to identify. And as a result, sourcing managers are actually often overwhelmed by our experience, by the enormous amount of data they have. And the sourcing decision process is usually becomes a very tedious and painful experience for many. And even though software providers usually promise to increase efficiency and guide sourcing managers to the best decisions based on all the data that they have available, they often fail to deliver on their promise. And oftentimes Excel and email are still the go-to place for company buyers. And the reason for this is that software tools today are either too basic and not capable of including anything but price, or on the opposite side, way too complicated, way too complex to use for the buyers who would use the tool maybe only once every few weeks, and only external consultants could come in or excellence centers could come in organizations to really help run holistic sourcing decisions properly. While Excel initially obviously gives the buyers the comfort they need, they're used to the tools, the spreadsheet approach quickly really shows also in itself to be an extremely manual and error-prone approach, obviously. And the buyers still need to be able to include critical non-cost components in their decision-making, such as I talked before about sustainability scores, but also payment terms and lead times, which are often considered. At Archlit, really, it is our mission to fundamentally change the current process of sourcing, get away from the Excel. We're really democratizing strategic sourcing activities by providing this one single intuitive, user-friendly, collaborative tool in place that guides users to the best sourcing decisions according to their strategy. Our sourcing optimization engine connects the previously isolated data sources and integrates them in scenarios so that buyers are empowered, sourcing managers are empowered to really understand their options and the impact of different award choices. So Archlit users can easily analyze different risk strategies and include various ESG factors into their decision-making process as well. And this way, strategic sourcing is driven by objective insights while simultaneously also becoming more holistic. And in the following video, I'm actually going to show you quickly how this is done in our app. So here you can see a user creating a sustainable sourcing scenario. So we have partners like EcoVadis, where we can feed in the data and make sure that buyers can create different scenarios here compared to the best price scenario to see, okay, what would I pay more if I wanted to work in the most sustainable way? And because of these additional capabilities, the procurement department can really rise from its position as a tactical function to really become the strategic business partner they should be in every organization. We've only been in the market since 2019, but we have already seen really good results with our customers. So our customers report savings of up to 15% compared to their previous sourcing activities, obviously depending on the category vertical, but also with an up to 10-fold increase of efficiency. And there I'm talking especially about Excel crunching activities. And the procurement department just now, it feels better equipped in the sense to really make most powerful and holistic sourcing decisions. We have customers across the world. We're working with companies also in different industries. For example, here, ME Group, but also PepsiCo or Deutsche Bahn in the German area. Exactly. So if you're interested in handling data complexity and sourcing much better and making more holistic decisions, feel free to reach out, book your demo, and convince yourself in a free test by the product itself.
Tim,
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that overview. And as far as I understood, the wonderful words is here, data-driven decision-making. This is one of the core things. And you do this by using AI and machine learning. So there's a lot of new technology under the hood. And what I understand also is getting rid of the Excel sheets on the one hand side, and don't make it too extremely complicated. So you are just in between of using this in an intuitive usage way. And that is exactly what the people like from startups. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our startup number 3 is not a B, it's already a C, which comes from a Covelize, and Christian is already there. This is a startup which is focused also on better negotiations, so the baseline of better negotiations. And for better negotiations, or the redesign of this, is it also important to have data? So what is a good negotiation in your wording?
Well, our wording is about cost value analyze, so that's why Covelize has been chosen. So, hi, my name is Chris from Covelize, and we support category managers in all industries, improving their negotiation results. So, I have a question in the beginning. Does this sound familiar to you? Your category managers receive an urgent specification and an urgent request for a quote. But often these specifications are overspecified. So forwarding a costly business specification hardly results in good prices, and it often takes weeks to get the prices back. And in the end, it's the job from procurement to negotiate low prices, even for bad specifications. So I think everyone would agree that there is a positive correlation between the data insights in a category and the savings that you get. So how can we increase the data insights for category managers? The first step is to analyze the business specifications in a category. And if there are hundreds of business specifications, then we at Covelize analyze hundreds of business specifications. Second step is to understand the value drivers in a category, and that means which technical features do have an influence on the price in the category. Next step is to understand the supplier pricing. And there are often big results at our clients in the results of this insight, but they can be perfectly used in better negotiation. But the biggest value for every category manager is to enable them to support their businesses to specify cost optimized, because this results in enormous savings compared to sending out expensive designs for features which you pay too much for. And finally, our similar part technology provides better pooling strategy and even provides price benchmarks for every part that you negotiate. And of course, we also provide with our Covelize Academy effective training courses to develop your people in becoming world-class Covelize users. So how does our software help to specify cost optimized? So let's imagine that I'm now a packaging engineer, and there are, of course, quite more commodities to choose from. But let's imagine we have now sourcing corrugated cardboards. And the first thing is that I'm choosing the construction code, which in that code is a FEFCO 200, a very simple cardboard. Color is white because sales want to have a white one. The joining is glued. It's a 4-color print. Supplier A, and I have a 5 square meter area. I have an edge crush value demanded by quality department of 8 kilonewton, and I have 1000 in the quantity. And this feature combination results in a price prediction of €4.32. So that's good. But the best thing is that now procurement can sit together with the engineers and develop a cost-optimized design. So for example, choosing a brown color instead of a white color results in a price prediction of €3.86. And now switching from a 4-color print to a single color print even reduces the price prediction down to €3.38. So that's almost a €1 saving compared to the initial design. And that's now what you can send out to the suppliers, and that's where you will receive much better prices for. So what are the benefits of Coverlise? On the first hand, of course, as you have seen, it's the cost-optimized specification. And that means for procurement to ensure an early involvement with the businesses and no longer receiving suddenly emails from a business partner requesting an urgent request for quotation. The second point is that we provide better negotiation results because our similar part technology optimizes the pooling and optimizes the negotiation by providing benchmarks from your own data. And if you choose Coverlise, it's an invest in your people because good people deserve better tools. That is what we at Coverlise believe in.
Wow, what a sentence. Thank you very much. Just the good people deserve better tools. It's a wonderful thing, yeah, of course. And what I understand also is discover your data, understand your data, and find inside the data the details, because details could make the difference, and that is what is it about in that tool. So thank you very much for this show, and we come to number 4 in our row, which is another tool coming from Norway, which is Ignite Procurement. Priska, hello Priska. How are you doing?
Hello, Stephan. Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Your startup was founded in 2016, and we are moving now slightly a little bit to another topic within procurement, which is more closely to the contract side. So the spend analytics and this one. And typically, if you are new in a procurement department, the CPO or whatever, or whoever, these people are mostly interested in, please give me all the contracts around and a spend cube. And as far as I understood, this is something you could provide. Is that true?
That's completely right. We are building a holistic solution for all strategic procurement activities. So I'm very excited to show all of you Ignite Procurement. So you see my screen? So my name is Priska, and at Ignite Procurement, I'm responsible for all sales activities in the German-speaking market. We see a massive white space out there with the majority of business not covered with sufficient spend management solutions. Consolidating, cleaning, and enriching data are often challenges and not taken care of as they should. And many of those activities are still done manually, taking up a lot of valuable time. And still transparency is missing, and procurement experts, as well as the management, are missing the foundation to base their decisions on. But the situation is no longer the same, especially due to the current pandemic scenario. And luckily, we see business leaders are investing more and more to reap the benefits of digitizing strategic procurement, further accelerated by the pandemic. And this is also backed by the latest Deloitte CPO survey that states that analytics-created insights and intelligence is the most straightforward way for CPOs to add value. And this is exactly what we do at Ignite. This is what we are here for. We have seen a massive potential to create value and make an impact in the procurement industry at a global scale. The need for a holistic spend management solution to do more with less, be more profitable, efficient, and proactive, or simply to make strategic procurement easy. To follow our vision, we built a best-of-breed spend management solution within the areas that matters the most for procurement. Starting with thorough procurement and spend analytics based on comprehensive data management using best practice methodology. Classification of the entire spend and making sure to include not only part of your spend, but every single transaction. Managing of all your contracts and connecting it to your spend. Managing suppliers with assessments and consolidating all relevant information within supplier cards. Transferring all insights into action using an initiative and task planner. And more to come very closely, like tracking your savings and launching sourcing events through Ignite Procurement. These are not only fluffy words, this is what we do. Here are some examples of deep insights we bring to our customers on saving opportunities. The Ignite Matrix, leverage spend data and supplier financials to identify quick win opportunities for renegotiations. Maverick buying, connected spend and contract insights to let you measure, address, and track Maverick spend. Bundling, carefully assess the number of suppliers you have per item and the potential you can realize from giving the best ones the chance to grow their business with you. Deep item level insights could even be connected to commodity price indices. Benchmarks, renegotiation packages to help you implement the savings. So we have just embarked on a great journey. We have started in 2016 with an MVP in Norway as our laboratory, and now we're scaling fast and focusing on growing internationally while building a holistic support for strategic procurement with advanced data science. And the next step for us will be to go larger and evolve into a global strategic procurement solution focusing on the mid-market. And there are 3 key reasons why we are designed to succeed. First of all, our background. From BCG and the early days in Ignite, we have lived out empowering clients to deliver savings, helping us to understand what it is like to be in the customer's shoes. Secondly, our technology. This is a powerful combination and enables us to create a significant value in cases where data integrity is severely limited. And a unique combination of advanced AI algorithms coupled with our deep knowledge on how to leverage data packaged in one SaaS solution. And last but not least, our team. We have built a team of extraordinary talents, individuals, and all the way from tech, customer success to top players within consulting, investment banking, software, and the procurement industry. Today, we have grown into a company of 50 high potential individuals, and we manage a spend of over $40 billion and are backed by solid investors and partners.
Priska, thank you very much for that wonderful show, and we would like to say at that time that it is easy to get in contact with startups if you also use probably Supplytechs.com. There is a lot of information for all of these startups. We had already 4. We have another 4 to come. So please feel free to contact them directly or through the Supplytechs site if you like. So thank you very much. What I understand is classification, the spend is a very important thing, and to have an overview and benchmarks. And it was wonderful to see these dashboards around and give a wonderful overview and insights on your data as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next startup is Inhaber, and Inhaber is a startup also based in the area of contracting, and Deja is already there. She is explaining us a little bit about the insights, what is data in a contract and what kind of benefit you can have out of that insights if you are manage it to bring it into the process without any broken experiences. Please feel free. I think you are still mute. Maybe just a small click helps. Yes.
So now
Perfect.
better?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, okay. So hello everyone, I'm Daria from Inhaber, and I'm sending out greetings from Berlin, and I'm really happy to show you what we do at Inhaber. So a little insight of our team. We are more than 15 persons right now, and we were founded in 2018, and our main vision and mission is to be the most secure platform for contract management. So what are we doing? What are the challenges most companies are confronted with? So due to studies and talks to our customers and from our experiences from the places we worked before, we know that a lot of companies don't have a central contract storage. And so, for example, they have their own computers, or some use clouds, some still have their storage in the archive. And it's like a lot of chaos, and a lot of companies noticed that, especially when the Corona pandemic started. So there needs to be a central and secure solution. The second one is the expenditure of time to find the contract which you need. And when you find the contract, you have to maybe read through it and find the special page where the information is you are looking for. So this takes a lot of time, and yeah, it's really not easy. The next one, no central overview. Sometimes you don't have like the overview about your next meetings, your milestones and deadlines. So you miss them, and it's not good in partnership, and sometimes you have to pay more in the end. Of course, complex procedures for signing are also still given, and the threat of cyber attacks. So as we all know, cyber attacks and the hackers, they're getting better and better every day. And we know that a lot of managers, they neglect these parts, and this shouldn't be. So what did we do to solve a lot, so to solve these problems? So we say we provide the new way of managing contracts. And the whole Inhaber platform is based on the blockchain technology, which is making us like, yeah, so the most secure. And we also have an artificial intelligence. So we provide the storage. We have the encrypted collaborations. So when you have negotiations with partners, you can be sure that all data is encrypted and no one can hack it or change anything while the process of negotiation is going on. And even if you have just the storage, it's all secure all the times. The third one is we provide the milestones and deadlines. So you decide which information is important and which you want to be reminded of, and the AI reminds you automatically. And last but not least, we have the digital signature, which is like it's really innovative. It's not that you have to sign on a pad or somewhere. It's like a digital stamp. And this makes it so easy and so secure to sign contracts. The last one is SharePoint integration. This is an extra. So just that you know, we have some integrations, but the most asked one is the SharePoint integration. So we made the integration for our customers so they can share data and don't have to use like a lot of CRM systems at the same time. Yeah, what I also already mentioned is the security and transparency. Due to the blockchain technology, we have the transparency, and we can track every action which has taken place on your work on the Inhaber platform. And also our cloud hosts are German servers. They're in Frankfurt am Main. They are certified by ISO 27001. And of course, the whole platform is GDPR compliant. As I also said, every data is end-to-end encrypted at any time. And the first thing when you register on Inhaber is you don't just register with email and password. You also get a key file, which is like the key to your contract. So nobody else has access to the contract.
Thank you, Dea. It was wonderful to hear that.
Yes.
What I understood is AI is reminding. I could use an AI to remind me very often for
Yes.
doing things. So good to have that in your system. And blockchain as well is a very common technology from the Silicon Valley, and it is absolutely necessary to have this in if you want to be GDPR-like, because this is from my expectations here, the most two questions around a contract: is it safe? Is it because this is crucial information? And do we have this on our German servers, or is it conform to the GDPR?
Yes.
Thank you, it
Thank
is.
you.
And we come to our next startup. We come into another field in procurement, which is more into this negotiations. And Andreas is the founder of MySupply. MySupply is also a very powerful platform of having a whole system around the tendering of the data and the solutions. And one of my further negotiations with him was just about is it still necessary to have this negotiation in real, or is it enough to have this doing by a software platform? So how is your platform doing that? And do we still have to negotiate?
Hi, Stephan. So let's figure out, I would say. Okay, I just share my screen. Yep. Can you see it? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Perfectly.
Okay. Great, thank you. So, yeah, hey, everybody. Great to have you right now in our little conference. I'm from MySupply, and we're about automating sourcing in procurement. And what I like to phrase in the start, so is this key problem also in your company? So normally you can invest a lot of time in getting a good deal. And then of course it's a lot of effort to really do a good sourcing process and get some really good results in the end. And on the other side, of course, if you're not really going for a lot of effort and spending a lot of effort, you're normally also not getting a good deal. So this is really a huge trade-off that normally every sourcing department has. And you're kind of sitting between the different poles. And believe it or not, we have a solution. So what we do with MySupply is quite easy, is solving this conflict by just having the demand on the one hand, having MySupply taking care for that, and in the end, getting a great deal. So this is what we focus on, and this leads with our customers to a lot of savings. So we have more than 11% of savings in general, and also more than 30% of possible working hour reduction. And so this is a key focus that we're looking for with MySupply. So, but of course, I'd like to explain you a bit more in detail how we do that. So we're focusing on the process of tendering, evaluating, and negotiating in sourcing. And so, of course, getting the offers, evaluating them, and in the end, also doing the negotiation there. So in the first chapter, we focus on, of course, getting the request pretty easy done. So it can come from the demanding side, it can come from the buyer. We try to make it very, very easy so that everybody can do a tender within a short period of time. And we are also integrated a supplier search, which can scout among 60 million suppliers. Then we have an enhanced evaluation, which also makes it pretty easy to get interesting data in. So for risk, for sustainability, all these kind of things you need to really get a good TCO price for having a look at your sourcing. And of course, it's not always about the price. All the other criteria are important as well. In the next step, we take care for the lot creation as well. Sometimes, of course, you have much more than one item which you would like to source. and we help you building clever bundles out of it. So clever lots, which really makes sense in the next step. And so now comes really the funny part, and this is the really specific thing about MySupply. We have a so-called strategy engine, which is driven by AI, which gives you the best guess how to negotiate here, and uses game theory and machine learning to, in combination of both, get really the best strategy and find a really easier way as well to do a good negotiation. And in the end, with just one more click, the negotiation itself works out. So you can just click on one button for the lot creation, you click another one for the strategy engine, and you click a third one for negotiating, and it's all done. So this is pretty easy, trying to get this process as easy as possible. MySupply can also be fully integrated into an ERP or sourcing platform. So that means you can not only get the full run of from 1 to 5, you can maybe also get just number 4 and number 5 if you just need the strategy engine and the negotiation engine, and we can easily integrate all of these. Looking very simple also into the cases. So we, on the one hand, can offer guided sourcing, which means it doesn't matter which deal size, the procurement specialist is guided through the whole process and has the chance to get a good deal and low effort at the same time. But in huge companies, you also have very often the case you're more in tail and tactical spend, and you just want to get off the hold of the effort. And this is why we also just focus on just getting the automated sourcing for tactical and tail spend. And furthermore, also having an autonomous negotiation just for the tail spend set. After you made an RFP with a complete different tool, you get the full run automated as a negotiation. So we have a very easy pricing model, which normally starts with a pilot. And of course, depends on what you need. You can get as much features as needed and as much support, and also custom workflow processes. Yeah, thanks for your attention, and please contact us. We just launched in July and are very happy to make a demo and show you how our system works.
Perfect. Thank you, Andreas. That was really amazing to see also how easy it is to get into a startup collaboration with you. So pilot is the keyword here. So all of the startups are more than happy to have you with you in pilot. And another thing which I noted here is it is not necessary to replace your own software. It is maybe just an integration, and that is a wonderful thing to hear, how to come closer to the first step to use a startup like yours. Thank you very much.
Great summary. Thank you so much, Stephan.
Okay, we have another startup coming next to you, which is OuterScore. We are having Olaf here with us, and OuterScore is also in a similar business of tendering and a little bit more to the compliance side, which is very important for tendering services. Because of, for example, we all know that actual or with problems around the temperature, labor, and how to tender that. So very often we don't have any transparency around that. Maverick buy is a big thing. How is your solution giving here a benefit to your customer side?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the introduction. Yeah, we have developed a special scoring model where we can evaluate also the compliance of external services. And yeah, I will come to that in a second. So it connects basically also to the first talk which we heard from Markus, yeah, professional services. So yeah, basically it's about the largest dark pool of undermanaged spend, as you also mentioned. Yeah, there's quite a large spend. Yeah, so if you look at the total workforce, then services and contingent workforce it could be up to 50% of the total spend. Yeah, was growing enormously during the last years, and there's also, as you also mentioned, high intransparency. So usually out of the classical ERP systems, You cannot find out who is working for whom, on which topics, which quality. And we also have this problem with the risk. So that could also be pseudo self-employment, illegal labor leasing, or also security breaches. Coming back to the first thing I said about the spend, how big the spend is. So we have a customer, GEMA, where we manage currently about 75 million euros via our system across multiple contract types and sourcing categories. And here we see that the spend is from the external workforce, or let's say invisible workforce, is already 55%. This depends, of course, on the industry, but we see a trend that it's increasing. Yeah. So what is our solution? Well, we offer a very user-friendly and really true all-in-one solution with flexible and modular components. So it's a solution where you can track all the resources also performing the service in the end. And it's modular so that you can choose whatever you need, what should be in scope with contract types, but also features like, for example, compliance checks, benchmarking tools, rate cut, and so on. So that basically depends what you really need, so you can compose and configure to your needs the whole tool. And so what makes us unique? So that the heart of our system is really what I mentioned at the beginning, a configurable dynamic scoring model and an anomaly engine. That is also the basis for our compliance assessments, and this also enables self-services. Yeah? Plus, we also offer this technology. It's more affordable than established solutions, so we offer it to mid-sized companies as well, where incumbent technology has been out of scope because of high cost and complexity so far. So basically, our solution was developed around three beliefs. So first of all, it is crucial that you gain acceptance, because is of course on the supplier side another portal where suppliers need to register, and we saw it helps a lot if you can explain that this is required for compliance reasons. So that helps a lot for the acceptance. Second important aspect, that we really make services shoppable. So we decompose and standardize service bundles, and also develop the workflows that users are familiar with from online shops. And that leads also to the third aspect, consumerization and acceptance. That will also help you to generate the data which you need to create the transparency on your spend in this area. So let me just share a few examples. One is OuterScore Gateway. So this is really should be the single place for hiring managers across the whole company to procure any type of external service or resource. So it's basically a user-friendly chatbot that helps you to avoid worker misclassifications, and also leads to the best matching contract type, service specification templates, and also the right suppliers. So as you can see on the right side, it's fully configurable. Yes, you can just adapt it to your needs via the admin system. Another thing is that, of course, also during an engagement, you should check compliance, but also performance. So we also offer pulse checks via the tool, also repeated pulse checks where you can check for this on a continuous basis. That could also be, of course, a survey, a larger one for a larger engagement, or also just for a contractor. What I mentioned at the beginning is also this anomaly engine. So that enables you really to track compliance, cost, performance against internal policies. And we link that also to a quite intuitive logic, which is traffic light logic. So you will see immediately what is still red, green, or which is red. Yeah, so that helps a lot, and that could also trigger alerts at the end.
Olaf, thank you very much for that insights. And it was very cool for me to see Anomaly Engine, which is bringing the finger in right where something happens. So it really focuses you to the right thing and not to the not so important things anymore. And dynamic sourcing is creating transparency, which is a perfect thing to do, because you can do everything which you like in procurement as long as it is transparency around it. So do things and talk about it, and you can even support that with your tool. And thank you for this show as well. We have another startup to come, which is the last one for today in our round. It is ScoutB, and Alexander is already there. ScoutB is a very well-known startup since a couple of years in the market, a very valuable player, and they are around the topic of, I would say, if I don't know anything about the supplier market, I would like to have an insight in your system. Is that true? Is that the most important question of your customer side, or what is it they would like to work together with you? Alexander, you are right now in. You can just start. So why is it that the customer side is working with you? Because of they don't have any idea of the supplier side? What is it about?
ScoutB is really about finding the right insights and identifying the right suppliers for your competitiveness and resilience, and gaining the right speed here, and brings the right speed to the market. Can I share my presentation with you?
You can just go ahead. Feel free.
Just a second, please. Just a second. Sorry, I got.
Now we can see it perfectly. We can see it in PowerPoint mode. Maybe you would like to share it with an presentation mode.
Right.
Yes.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. ScoutB, your AI to get your supplier data right and your supplier search fast. What does it mean? When you look at today's world, there are many undiscovered icebergs out in the supply market, and companies are navigating Titanics through the supply market with many valuable data points to consider, not to forget that the icebergs are also melting away and creating other problems. So this is substantial, and the impact on your profitability and sustainability is really high. On top of that, procurement and supply chain organizations face fast-changing movements in the market, and the market pace is really quite high. We can say that we actually live in a VUCA world, and the world became sort of a mess, a very volatile, uncertain, and complex environment, together with exponential data growth beyond the human mind and understanding what's actually happening. The pandemic is just one example of it, what exponential growth really means. And that brings companies in a position where they need to ask how could actually survive with all of these challenges from the supply chain that need to be addressed permanently, where responsiveness and speed became paramount. And all of these strategic challenges are underpinned with an ever-increasing C-level expectation on procurement and supply chain as a central hub for value creation. And this is really about how can you increase your resilience, and obviously the more resilient the supply chain is, the more competitive your company is. And ScoutB can really help you here in that aspect. This essentially leads to the question what to focus on and how to make procurement more competitive and resilient. And in this regard, it's really about refocusing major investments, or asking the question where to actually invest. On the one hand side, driving value and choice through strategic analysis and digital sourcing, versus more optimizing the processes. And obviously looking at the major value creation with your network, within your supply network. The strategic analytics and the strategic sourcing part is really essential to make that happen. And given that, two fundamental challenges are really need to be solved, and one is a bad data situation. So you can see that in today's world, most of the information that you get is either not up to date, incomplete, or sort of dirty, spread across systems and tools. You could call it the corporate Alzheimer. And on the other hand, you have slow manual reactive supplier search that you can start acting on to really find the right sources. And this is essentially what ScoutB can do, really addressing the two strategic sourcing challenges to make sourcing faster and smarter with the right supply insights. So really having a secure data foundation to make informed decisions, cleansed and deep and fast searchable data to really understand where you are and where you need to go, and enrich all of that with external and internal data. And on the other side, you have faster and smarter supply discovery, which gives you greater visibility, fast search onboarding, and really the right collaboration. And that brings me really to the next point, how to leverage that. And we as ScoutB can help you to get the right supplier data and supplier search, really by cleansing, structuring, enriching, analyzing, automating, collaborating with the supply network, and give you then the right supply insights on a global basis and the right discovery here. So ScoutB makes sense out of the data spaghetti and creates a delicious pasta for you. And this happens via different data sources, and one of them is actually the internet. So when we look at how we do it, we actually download 180 million domains each month, besides other big data sources. And that actually helps you to fight against the status quo, where strategic sourcing is still a long process and really cumbersome and brings you a lot of manual efforts with it. And we can do it 4 times faster with 90% less efforts, and achieving better matches with around about 90% less efforts. Client benefits, we can look at Unilever or Siemens or Audi. Here you see really substantial value being created in very volatile markets. Unilever is faced with a lot of local changes as well in terms of consumer preferences. Siemens and Audi undergo major digital transformations, and we support here to get the right supply data insights, discover new alternatives, new sources. And one example here is really with another big client that actually saved 20 million of costs, reduced the CO2 carbon footprint by 80%, and achieved a better quality with us in a strategic collaboration. And that really is essential for your future supply chains and for your future procurement organization. So we actually help you getting the strategic sourcing right by creating a state-of-the-art supplier data foundation and cracking the code of identifying relevant suppliers anywhere and anytime. So this is what we would love to hear back from you and really see what we can scout for you. Please connect, and happy to support.
Alexander, thank you very much. I learned so many things, and I'm quite sure we can have a wonderful meal with you of data.
Pretty much.
Pasta. Yeah, data pasta is a wonderful thing. You combine everything and you bring the sense into this data, because you have over, as far as I know, over 50 data points you connect, and you will bring out these immense data into a specific way. And save the planet is also a very important thing in these days. We all would like to share that. So thank you for that pitch and that point. Coming to the last round together, we all are from Supplytechs, and we are happy to have you here in this perfectly pitch format, which is the first time in that way. We would like to do it again, and that was the first round of 8 startups. And thank you very much for all of that, and to all the others participants. Please feel free to contact us, and we will help you to save the planet. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Stephan, for this cool moderation. Thank you.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.